The Creation, a retelling by Heather Arnett. In the beginning, there was Sky World, which lay far above the water-covered earth, where the Great Spirit dwelled peacefully. Until one day, the Great Spirit pulled the tree of life from the ground, creating a hole. He then told his daughter she needed to go into the world of darkness, and he gently dropped her through the hole. She fell like a maple seed gliding on an autumn breeze. A beam of light streamed through a hole in Sky World, making a path where only darkness had been before. And she slowly descended into the unknown. In fear, or maybe hope, she clenched to a bundle tightly in her hand. Plunging downward, she saw only dark waters below, but in that emptiness, there were many eyes curious about this shaft of light. They saw there a small object, a mere fragment in the beam. As it grew closer, they could see it was a woman, arms outstretched, long black hair billowing behind as she drifted toward them. The geese nodded at one another and ascended together from the water in a wave of trumpeting. She felt the beat of their wings as they flew beneath to break her fall. Far from the only home she had ever known, she felt comforted at the warm embrace of their soft feathers as they gently carried her downward. And so it began. The geese could not hold the woman above the water for much longer, so they called together all the animals to decide what to do. Resting on their wings, she saw them all gather: the loons, the otters, the swans, the beavers, fish of all kind. And then a great turtle floated in their midst and offered hers back to her. Grateful, she stepped from the wings of the geese to the shell of the great turtle. Somehow they understood that she needed land for her home and considered her survival. The deep divers among them had heard of mud at the bottom of the water and agreed to find some. First, Loon dove, but the distance was too far, and after a long while he surfaced with nothing to show for his efforts. Then Beaver, but the distance was too far, and after a long while he surfaced with nothing to show. And then Otter, he too dove, but the distance was too far, and after a long while he surfaced with nothing to show for his efforts. And then Swan, he dove, but the distance was again too far, and after a long while he surfaced with nothing to show. The depth, the darkness, the pressure, it was too much for even the greatest of swimmers. They returned gasping for air and befuddled. Some did not return at all. Soon only the muskrat was left, the weakest of all divers. He volunteered to go, while others were doubtful. His small legs flailed as he worked his way downward, and he was gone a very long time. They waited and they waited for him to return, fearing the worst for their friend, and before long a stream of bubbles surfaced with the small, limp body of the muskrat. He had given the ultimate sacrifice to help this helpless being. But they noticed his paw was still tightly clenched, and when they opened it, there was a small handful of mud. The great turtle said, "Here, put it on my back and I will hold it." Skywoman bent down and spread the mud with her hands across the shell of the turtle. Moved by such kindness of the animals, she sang out in thanksgiving and began to dance, her feet caressing the earth. The land grew and grew, and as she danced her thanks, the parcel of mud on the turtle's back turned into a whole world, not by Skywoman alone, but from the alchemy of all the animals' gifts, coupled with her deep gratitude. Together they formed what we know today as Turtle Island, our home. Like any good guest, Skywoman had not come empty-handed. The bundle was still clutched in her hand. When she fell from the hole in the sky world, she had reached out and grabbed onto the tree of life that grew. In her grasp were branches, fruits, and seeds, and all kinds of plants. These she scattered on the new ground and carefully tended them like she had been. The world turned from brown to green. Sunlight beamed through the hole from Sky World, allowing the seeds to flourish. Wild grasses, flowers, trees, and medicine grew everywhere. And now that the animals too had plenty to eat, many came to live with her on Turtle Island. Thank you.